All right, we're recording and we are ready. We are ready.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up our regular board meeting for the Housing Authority of the County of Monterey. Today is Monday, December 16, 2024, and the time is 4:40 p.m. If we could all stand. James, can you start us off?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Thank you, James. You knew I was calling you. Okay, roll call, please.
Okay, Vice Chair Kathleen Bellis-Starnes,
Present.
Commissioner Kennedy is absent, Commissioner Francine Goodwin,
Present.
Commissioner Maria Orozco is absent, and Commissioner Yuri Anderson.
Here.
Okay, that concludes roll call.
Do we have any additions or?
No, ma'am.
So we're gonna go to number 3, comments from the public. Is anybody online or present?
Anybody online wanting to make public comments? Hearing none, and there's none in person.
Okay. Thank you, Gabriela. Okay, we're gonna go to number 4, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting held on November 25th, 2024. Do we have a motion? Move approval. And a second? Fancy?
I'm sorry, I'm having a really hard time hearing you guys.
Okay, let me talk louder. We're approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting held on November 25th, 2024. Commissioner Anderson made a motion, so I need a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. So there's been a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes. Roll call?
Vice Chair Kathleen Bellis-Starnes.
Yes.
Commissioner Francine Goodwin
Yes.
and Commissioner Yuri Anderson.
Yes. Thank you. So now we'll go to the reports of the committees. And Commissioner Hill is not present. Is anybody else on the board report with that?
We didn't have
Didn't have a meeting? Okay. And what about the development ad hoc committee?
it's put off until January.
Okay, and then also for the policy, okay.
On the policy committee, I found that I haven't have a regular conflict with the date that we scheduled.
Okay,
So,
so
we'll look at that. Future,
Okay, future, a different date or a different day?
different day, or I mean, I think we're down a member on the board ad hoc, if you want me to switch over to the board ad hoc committee, since we already had 3 on the
Okay.
policy committee. It's an
That's
option.
true. Okay.
Something to look at.
Okay. Okay, now we'll go to number 6, report of the secretary.
Okay. Well, the December meeting is quickly held behind the November, so it's not a lot of updates. Plus, most of the things that we're working on is in development. And so everybody's trying to get all of their members and boards together so they can pass whatever resolutions they need. So we don't have too much this month, but we'll probably have a lot starting in January meeting to come back and finalize some of the deals. So really the thing on here that I want to bring out is one, we're working with the San Francisco field office and the Veterans Transition Center. So they are trying to get us some more badge vouchers. If they do, we'll get about 40 more. But that's not something we can ask for as the agency. The Veterans Transitional Center has to ask for them on our behalf. And so we'll see how that works out. Let's see. Oh, we did the interviews for the Director of Property Management. We do have a candidate and we've made an offer. We're waiting on a response, but I feel really confident that they're gonna take the offer. So that position will probably be filled in the next week or so. And then under development for Monterey County, We made the charter a couple of months ago, but we never finalized it because we was trying to get some additional language put into the bylaws and stuff like that. So that don't have some of the concerns that we had with Meechie and, you know, things of that nature. That has been accomplished, is actually on the agenda for approval tonight. And I point out like a couple of the things that was changed, because we didn't want to rush and do it. So that we make sure that we really protective of the agency and the agency assets. Pacific Meadows, everything is scheduled for the end of this month. It was a call with them today. We're waiting for a follow-up, and that should be able to be finalized by the end of this month. Let's see, the Director of Development position, the person was selected. They accepted the offer. The official start date is supposed to be January the 9th. It's the 9th, no, the 6th, January the 6th. And the only thing we just, you know, they gotta do their background check and, exam when they get here. They come and do that for them. And we did have a couple of shortages in the HCV department for the mainstream program. Because we ran over a little bit, which is actually good. And so HUD already contacted us. We're working with them. They're probably gonna send us another like $100,000. And so that'll help our budget for next year. And let's see, and that's it for that report.
Is there any questions from the other commissioners?
No,
All right, thank you. Thank you. Sarita. Okay, so now we're gonna go to number 7, new business. Resolution 3130, resolution approving the creation of WISH Monterey County, a private nonprofit organization for affordable housing development.
Okay, so the WISH Monterey County is the CHODO that we have created for our development deals. A lot of times you have a CHODO, they get funding based on your jurisdiction. So they have access to monies that the Housing Authority and HDC do not have access to, because it's a certain criteria they have to meet and different little compliance issues. So it's really helpful when we're gonna start developing all these units, looking for extra funding, and just trying to really get more partners interested in us as well, because it'll open us up to like home fund, which is something we can't get without it. And so we created it based on the format that we used to use here at HACM in the guidelines from HUD, which means that 1/3 of the members have to be low income. It's supposed to be somebody who live in the area. For the board of directors, there's certain criteria. And comes, really the board that we have here makes up that criteria. So it is possible for this CHODO to have the same board as we have for HACM and HDC. Because we checked all of that before we created it to make sure that we would be in compliance if we did that. That's not nothing irregular, but it is something that'll be useful for us to make sure that all 3 of the agencies have the same mission, same agenda, same vision. Now, some extra protections, because we haven't filed anything yet, because we wanted to get the board's approval tonight to go ahead and do the filing. Because you approved the CHODO, but the documents from the attorney to actually file everything. So as the executive director of HACM and the president for HDC, I would be the president / CEO of WISH Monterey. And then any the Housing Authority staff or HDC staff that participate, we have a fee in here where the CHODO would actually pay us back, plus an additional 1% for the time that they spend working on any of the developments or other items that we take on. It'll be a 501c3. And it falls under the correct tax codes 170C2, so that we can get all the tax breaks, we can get donations, we can use it in the community. The money will be non-federal, so it could be times that the CHODO could do things that the Housing Authority can't do if we so desire. Now, the extra protections. If you look on page 20, which is page 3, is Article 10. The item B is the one that you really need to highlight. 1/3 of the directors on the board of directors should also be at all times appointed by the authority. So 1/3 of the board members has to be appointed by the Housing Authority. And then that 1/3 will appoint the other 2/3 of the board. So the Housing Authority appoints the initial directors. There's no getting around it. The only way you could change this, you have to change all of these articles of incorporation, which would have to be done unanimously, not a majority vote. And so then those board of directors would appoint the other board of directors. That's a safeguard in there for us. Because if the authority appoints the first three, well, the first 1/3, then those particular directors appoint the rest. We shouldn't have a conflict how we did with, Meachie taking off the 2 board members that were on HACM. And it's not a majority vote, it's a unanimous vote. So without it being unanimous, it can't happen.
It protects the.
Protect the assets, everything in here that have to do with the housing authority, it have to be a unanimous vote. And they go down to the assets, to the monies, how it's gonna be spent, what we gonna pay somebody if we wanna pay them. And just even changing any of the incorporation, the bylaws, any addendums, it have to be unanimous. This way, we keep control of the Chodo. And it's important that we do because the Chodo is a separate entity. And you don't want it to separate itself from the authority of HDC too much, and then we have an issue like we were facing earlier in 2022 when they were trying to take assets and things of that nature. Because for these deals to work, a lot of time you are gonna put the asset in the Chodo name, but it's with the understanding that the housing authority and HDC, we all still remain partners. That was not clear in the other agreements, which is normally is not, it's just something everybody know and respect and do. But just for this one, we made sure to actually put it in writing, in the document, the lawyers did it. So it meet all the criteria for HUD to be in compliance, it follows all the tax laws. It's not putting us in any type of risk or liability by adding in that language, it only strengthens the document for when we use it in the future.
So let's say that this resolution, our legal person reviews it before.
Oh, they wrote it.
Oh, they wrote it? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, they wrote up all the paperwork for the Chodo. They did all the articles, the bylaws, everything, and they wrote the resolution. That way, all of it is in tandem, so that we don't have to worry about anything. And then after they wrote it, they had another part of their legal team review it, just to make sure, that it wasn't nothing in there that could be like a miscommunication. So it really puts us in a really strong position. And I think the Chodo will be good for us. It'll help us with development and things of that nature. And we shouldn't have to worry about the downside of creating it. If at any time that it's dissolved or we decide we don't need it anymore, all of its assets, monies, everything come back to the housing authority. And that cannot be changed unless it's a unanimous vote. And again, all of the directors are chosen by the directors firstly appointed by the housing authority, and then they pick the other directors. So.
Okay. That's good. Does anybody have any questions for Zalika regarding this resolution? I know there was a lot to read. I was just trying to, I read it, trying to understand.
I have some questions.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
And it wasn't a lot to read, so it's possible that I just missed it. So you mentioned that the board or the Chodo could mirror this board, but the articles call for 9 board members. So is it that we have to have 9 board members?
No, we can have
up to 9 board members, okay. And then, all right. And then my understanding is that the term of appointment for HACM appointed directors is until HACM takes them off. All other directors, it's 1 year. But I was wondering, does that first appointment have a staggered component so that we're not always losing 2/3 of our board, potentially having to reappoint them on an annual
We
basis?
can change it.
Is that something we can just like?
Yeah, we can just put a little extra line and then do that. That way, when one person come off, it's just one person a year instead of like 3 people coming off at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, and my assumption is everything will go good and we'll probably just keep appointing because there was no term, but in case it was, it would be.
Yeah, we can stagger that.
And then I didn't see how we go about seating these people, and maybe that's a process that's down the road.
Once we approve this, then the board decides who the first board people
Mhm.
are gonna be. And so then you all would vote on that and appoint them, and then we'd have a meeting for wish. And then those people would appoint the other people.
And there would be some process that you would help us kind of, I know it has kind of like criteria requirements for who's allowable, but to figure out,
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
because
get
we
the
already
people.
kind of worked on it in the background to see who fit what.
okay.
So we'll do the first three. We could actually do the first three. After we do this in the January meeting,
Mhm.
we could do the first three.
Okay,
And then in the February meeting, or you could do it in the January meeting, we can have a directly following and then do the other people. But we can, I can send out and tell you like who fit what criteria, so we can fill all the positions.
okay, and since it's a 501(c)(3), it isn't necessarily subject to the Brown Act, or it is, that wasn't?
It's not,
Oh, okay,
It does not always follow it.
just to make
Yeah.
it easier. Okay, those were my only questions.
okay. Yeah, and we'll do it in January, which will be right on time for the developments and things that we have planned and some conversations we've been having with the city. So that'll work out perfect.
Commissioner Goodwin, do you have any questions for Zalika?
No, thank you.
I just have one.
Okay.
My question, can you explain the code section 170C1? It's on page 3.
Three.
Yeah,
We'll come all around everything.
it's just something I didn't. Code section 170.
It's just talking about how the organization is and how it compares to the IRS numbers. So
Okay.
for the IRS, to be a 501(c)(3), you can get donations, you can do the charities. You have a little more freedom with your monies and then volunteering services and volunteering people. The housing authority can't do all that. And so it's saying that under that, and under the code 170C1, which will dictate how we do our taxes, because we will have to do annual taxes, and it's a certain way we have to report, that we'll follow that criteria to make our reports.
Okay,
And we're familiar with doing those, because of all the other limited partnerships and stuff.
okay, thank you.
Kevin Healy is on the call. Just wanted to make a note of that.
Yeah, I apologize for being late, everyone.
Good evening,
Hi,
Commissioner Healy.
Good evening, Commissioner Ballesteros, and thank you, Gabby, for the prompt. It was I was behind the 8 ball in terms of timing, so my apologies.
No problem.
Commissioner Healy, we just went over the resolution 3130. And so I don't know if you had any questions for Zalika in regards to that.
I wish I had been here for the entirety of the presentation, but I'm sorry. But no, I don't have any additional questions. Thank you.
Okay. So since this is new business, we need a motion to approve. Okay, so do I have a motion on the floor to approve?
I'll move approval of resolution 3130.
Second,
So Commissioner Anderson made the motion and Commissioner Healy is now seconded. Roll call?
Okay, Vice Chair Kathleen Bellosaurus,
Yes.
Commissioner Kevin Healy,
yes.
Commissioner Francine Goodwin,
Yes,
and Commissioner Yuri Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, that concludes the roll call.
Okay, so now we're gonna go, thank you, Zalika. Now we're gonna go to number 8, information, starting with the human resource report. We just asked if anybody has questions, right?
Yeah, because the only thing that I wanted James to kind of highlight, employee engagement and team building, to talk about the engagement and wellness, committee.
So, yeah, so we kind of started off with event committee and then kind of because of the safety kind of initiatives that we've been doing throughout the year. And then also, we started off with only 2 people. Now we expanded to about maybe 6 altogether. So people are trying to partake into this whole committee. And to increase morale and productivity and efficiency across the agency, we are having these activities come out throughout. So everyone wants to participate in it. We're gonna have the winter gala that's gonna be coming up featuring the Grinch in the warehouse. So everyone's looking forward to that. But different things are coming up and it's actually making everyone more involved with the agency rather than before. People didn't want to kind of participate. So a lot of people are trying to tap in now and try to put their input and ideas, which is increasing the morale overall. So really happy with the success of the committee. They're standing on its own 2 feet and they're moving right along. So hopefully next year we'll see some really positive changes as well as we continue with the committees.
Did anybody have any questions?
Any questions from other commissioners? For
No.
Jane? Commissioner Healy?
No questions.
And then the finance report, Jen, if you could just give a brief overview of where we at financially.
Our financial, we have we have overall 30 properties. We have here at HACM, we only bookkeeping 3 properties. We have 3 bookkeeping company, BDO is also our consultant. They manage property, they help the bookkeeping 20 property. John Stewart, they do the 5, and Purple Roberts Housing Authority, they do the 2. Right now, because we have all processing the AP here, AP invoice and the receiving the receipt. Our people here is more do the data entry, the basic, but that's also important. What I have been doing, because I started to review the audit report 2023 to familiar with what is the property, what the loan we have. We have lots of loan and soft debt and the hard debt. Hard debt, which means we normally it's monthly we do. We pay the principal, we pay the interest. So we receive the document to help us we know how much we paid. That's helped me to confirm this is a loan. We pay this principal, and what is the balance supposed to be unpaid principal and accrued interest. And we have a soft. The soft debt is a little more work because we need a confirmation to know what is the unpaid balance is actual. We have a lot of that. I cleaned the loan list. We have probably more than 60 loans. And I check all the information, who's the lender, and what is the original principal, what is the unpaid, what's the rate, interest rate, what is the simple rate or compound rate, what's unpaid, what's our account, GL account. So I try to trace back to see if that our bookkeeping correct. And also because this is the loan, right? Because this involves many documents, LPA, limited partnership agreement, that has a list of the information. They talk about the reserve account, talk about the loan, how you pay for that. What is the, for example, reserve? We have replaced reserve, operating reserve. So monthly you have to put the money there. Sometimes it's through the billing, the bank, they give you the monthly billing. Sometimes they just have the term over there because we have to follow. So what I'm trying to say, that is a guide. And I'll trace back to see our bookkeeping, is that correct? Well, so we're also involving, we assist a little bit with the NORA to prepare the LP, the budget. So it's also helped me to go back to check if this is a loan, what is the loan interest? Even we don't pay that, we have to have the interest over there. So that's pretty much, I have this down, I will say, for close 90%, all the loan information. And once we clean the bank information. So our bank, we have one property, we have a multiple bank account that's in our operating account, operating reserve, replace reserve, and the deposit, security deposit. Now all this account, this is aligned to the LPA agreement. There's also other the promissory note and other the agreement. Just to try to see what is the on the top, because like some agreement to supersede another one. So my goal is try to see if this is the bookkeeping, the balance amount is correct. So it will help me to going forward to talking to the auditor to confirm certain information. I also try to find out who's the contact of the loan. Sometimes it's very difficult to reach out the person. You have to wait a month or 2 months, they probably respond to you. But I do need to know what is unpaid balance is correct. So that's what I have been doing. Right now, we have two procurement. One is working on the request for proposal, and there's one procurement guy working on that. And another guy is working on all else. So they kind of working on the two. One is the document, one is YARDI, how the YARDI reflect those information. And also I request them, because we have lots of PO, we have a non-PO. The invoice involve PO for that procedure, how it's reflect, let YARDI help us to approval, and then the non-PO. And then I asked them, do you have a service agreement? How the manager approve that? You just give me something, I don't know you want me to approve. So that kind of things I kind of request them to do. They also clean up the previous history. So we have a payroll here, we have 2 AP, we have a supervisor, we have 1 VMS. It's VMS is still involved a lot of the just kind of coordinator with the auditor to answer the questions. Our target is March 31st. We can filing that the financial statement too hot, but try to by the end of February we can finish the audit report. Probably I don't think maybe they will extend it to another 10 days, but the goal is March 31st. The filing be complete.
Thank you, and that'll have us on time, because again, we call up all the audits. So with the March 31st deadline, that'll have us on time with everything with HUD. And then some of the stuff that she was talking about, we're really just doing a deep dive assessment on the finance department to get all the internal controls in place. Because being new, even being here 2 years, I still don't know all the agreements they made, and some of them, they really customized them. So it's not following the normal pathway. We have to get the documents and go back and read and to see what our HACM or HDC put in. And so we doing that, so that way they can make our software system mirror whatever we really supposed to do and have all the safeguards in place. That wasn't in place before, but she's been working on that and she's doing a good job of getting that situated. So that way we won't be late on audits anymore. We won't have like surprise bills coming, because we had some bills and things that came with like $1 million. Nobody even knew, because we never got notification. And it was buried so deep down in the regulatory agreements that since all of those people left and they didn't leave anything, it was just, you open a mail one day, hey, you owe $1 million, it's due in June, and it was April or May.
Wow.
So that's what kind of prompted this, but it's going well. And I think it'll probably take maybe the next 6 months or so to kind of get it all out, but after that, we'll be in a much better position. We are already in a better position, but just proactively trying to find all that stuff and make sure it's in place. And so, we're doing good with the audits and everything, and the finance department as a whole is doing good. So now she's also trying to build capacity, because BDO helped us. We had a 3-year contract with them, and then we wanted to see what we was gonna do after that. We was gonna continue that or try to grow the team. So now I'm just assessing everybody to see what skills they actually need for us to be able to run. Because previously, the finance team that you had here, this agency is not that large to require that many people to work in finance. So what it was doing was duplicating tasks, and then really menial tasks too. Like you'll have one person cut the check, then they'll give it to another person to put it, in the mail. So it was really kind of cut up like that. I know it's hard to believe, but they really was having like job duties like that. And so you had 2 or 3 people making almost $70,000 a piece to do something what one clerk can do. So part of her assessment, she really kind of see what we need done. So when we do, come back and take all of that back in-house, we'll be ready. But BDO has been a fantastic asset. They helping us to uncover monies and rules that's really helpful for the agency, and we also use it for training.
I did notice that on here, one of the activities, the key departmental activities, it's creating a standard of procedure.
Yeah, we try to, whenever we have an issue, I ask them to create SOP. This is also suggested by HUD, the auditors. So we will have this, and they just put there, and then the director needs you to review and approve, then will be finalized.
Yes, I understand that. Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions, commissioners? Jimmy?
No.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for the copy. Okay, so now we'll go to the property management.
Yeah, and the only thing on property management, Myra, one, why was the 803 voucher not submitted? And two, what are y'all doing to address all these evictions? You got 10 evictions open, and year to date you done had 21. We're not in the business of evicting people, we're supposed to be housing people. So I know that sometimes we do not have a choice because people don't pay their rent. But I feel like this is an excessive number for the property management team, for the portfolio size that we have. So don't go into the eviction because that's legal, but what precautions are you taking to decrease that number? So we're not displacing that many people, or we got things in place to like provide resolutions.
Right, correct. So prior to us getting into an eviction with a tenant, we try to contact them, let them know about their balances. A lot of them are for non-payment of rent. I know that a few of them were inherited when we took over Ribbon River. So we've had one outstanding for over a year. We're working on that one. But we do try to sign repayment agreements with the tenants. When those are not honored, we call them back to see, you know, if we can get the balance that's due to us. And when we can't, we start having a conversation with our attorney, and sometimes we can reach an agreement by the means of using the attorney as mediator to see if they can collect the balance that we were unsuccessful in collecting, or if you know, if the better path is to seek an eviction.
Okay, so we gotta cut back on these attorney fees for evictions. If the property managers get a better relationship with their tenants, they won't need attorneys as much. Because they supposed to be talking to these people every month about their work orders, about, you know, paying their rent. They should be building some type of rapport. If you got a rapport with them, most tenants that I've been engaged with, and I've had some bad ones, you could talk to them and work out something. As long as they knew that you were being fair and there wasn't some other agenda as to the reason of trying to, you know, put them out. We only have about 1,200 units, I think, that you guys manage. So having 21 evictions to a year to date, that's excessive. So you need to talk to your property managers. We need to make sure they're checking these ledgers every month. And as soon as the person is past due, they making contact to do what need to be done. So y'all start kind of thinking about what type of plan you can put in place to reduce that number. I do understand about, like you said, out Rippling River. And I know some of this is because of the non-collection with the write-offs we had to do for RAD. But we did that now. You're supposed to be on a clean slate. So moving forward, just make sure that they addressing this in each office so this number can go down. And then as far as the attorneys, let's stop if I owe you some money and I'm scared you're gonna put me out, and my first or second contact is from the attorney instead of my property manager, then I'm really thinking you finna kick me out and I'm gonna go get legal services and all that. And so now what we've done is unintentionally created a wall between us and the tenant. So the managers need to try to talk to them first. And if they are successful, then they should be asking for approval to incur the cost for an attorney to take over. Attorney shouldn't come into play till we actually know we're gonna have to go to court with the person.
Right, and then I think usually when the manager is unsuccessful in collecting the balances, or we've had meetings, we are using Andrew as the second person. We would set up a meeting and then the tenant would meet with the property manager, supervisor at that point.
Okay, and this last comment probably gonna make me sound like the Grinch, but when you do go to court for an eviction, you should win. We've had too many times where you guys have went to court and the tenant won in court, so now we got all these extra fees. Plus, we still didn't get their rent and they still got to stay. And it's just, you know, created more cost for that property. So kind of think about it and create a good plan for this process. And why wasn't 803 voucher
So the 803
transmitted?
voucher, we're having an issue specifically with Yardi, because we've already reached out through the FILA, we reached out to HUD and looked at the IMAX and their IDs for the manager, supervisor, and myself. And the issue's not there. So we have a ticket with Yardi right now, and they're assisting us.
Okay, let them know it's halting business and they need to clear it up for the end of the year, because if not, you're not gonna have no money. And then that property gonna have to borrow money from another property or get money from their reserves or whatever to operate. So just make sure y'all get Yardi to clear that up. Cause 803 vouchers, what normally like is it $100,000?
Around there.
Okay.
Can I ask a question, Zerika? So, since the client, it's probably confidential information, but it's kind of try to ask in a general way. If we have all these clients and some of them are not paying their rent, there's probably various reasons, maybe they got their income got slashed or there was a mistake made, whatever they were given. I mean, whatever it is, that is their income. So is that usually the case that?
I would say from what I've seen since I got here, a lot of the clients who are not paying rent, they have the money to pay it. But unfortunately, back in 2019, 20, 21, and 22, the agency just didn't collect. They didn't make any efforts to collect the rent, not extra efforts. If the person paid the rent, they took it. But if they didn't send out notices, they didn't do eviction, they didn't even go to, how they had those COVID relief funds where you could go to them and they'll pay the person rent for you. None of that seemed to have happened. So these tenants just got used to not paying. And so since they hadn't been paying and they kept their residence for the last 3 years or so, they don't feel the urgency in having to pay, because even when everybody else started back paying, because they started doing evictions, unfortunately, HACM did not. And so the people just still, stayed in place, and not all of them, just, a few people. So it's really just getting them back, to the point of being accountable and knowing that something is gonna happen if they don't pay. And so that's why I say our managers, we really gotta engage with them and let them know, and not when they 3 months, but the first month they late, hey, you late, we're not gonna start this trend again, you need to pay your rent, so they can know we really looking at it. Cause most of these people just know that nobody was really keeping up with it. Yeah, cause one person owed like $20,000 or something tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, so they hadn't paid in years, never got a late, and then they go to court. And because they don't have a late rent notice, because like the steps wasn't taken, the judge don't let you evict them. And so they have to go back and you have to start all the way back over. So it's just my opinion is stepping up our property management, team.
Thank you. Do any of the other commissioners have questions?
I just have a quick question. Are they in various areas, or is this just one apartment complex area? For
For the evictions?
Yes.
No, they're spread out.
They're spread
We
out,
have,
okay.
we have some in the Carmel and
Yeah.
Salinas.
Okay. And that was my other question, was, and you already answered it. When the judge rules in the tenant's favor is because
Won't
it's
have
documentation,
yeah.
okay.
Commissioner Goodwin or Commissioner Healy, any questions?
No,
Commissioner Anderson? No. Okay. Thank you. So now we'll go to 8D, development report.
Okay, we living here about a little chance to pay the 2 cents tonight. If you could just, kind of go over well, it's pretty evident on here, like the units and the money and stuff like that, but I don't know, is there been an update on the service coordinator?
I haven't, not since their last email where they were vetting it, they asked for additional clarifications that we submitted, they haven't come back with any additional comments.
Okay, could you just kind of, refresh everybody on what that is and how many we apply for?
We applied for 2.5 solutions for HUD grants to support these individuals to provide services to the residents at Portola Vista, which is the senior site in Monterey, at Casa de Oro, which is the senior site in Gonzales, and at Los Ositos, which is the senior site in Greenfield. So they would provide a robust resident service program at those sites funded by this HUD grant. So 2.5 positions.
Yeah, and it's 3 years, so the HUD grant will be good for 3 years, and then we can just keep reapplying. So as long as we providing good services and our reports are producing good metrics, we should be able to keep it funded indefinitely. Even when they change it, I've seen them just merge it and kind of change it into something else, but you were grandfathered in. So we just gotta get them. Hopefully we'll get it. They did ask questions, because that'll be a real asset for us in our supportive services that we provide for the clients. But that was it for me for development. Did anybody have any questions?
Any questions? Commissioner Goodwin or Commissioner Healy, any questions regarding the development report?
No,
No, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll go to 8E, housing programs report.
Okay, one thing, Jonathan's not here, he tested positive for COVID, so he's out, yeah. If you, only one thing I wanna say, if you look at the report and see those little red blocks where it's -357, -241. Those are the areas that let us know when we spent over the amount of help that HUD gave us for the month, so we take it out of our admin, and then we just send an email, and they send it right back to us. So I just wanted to let you see it, to see, we tracking it every month, and we getting the money back. Normally, once we send the email, I think it was taking maybe like 3 or 4 days, really, for them to give it to us. Every once in a while, they have questions, but most of the time, it's just instantly reimbursed. Sometimes they even give us extra for the upcoming months based on that, but we are paying attention to it so that we can make sure that we don't exceed our budget authority in a negative way, where it affects the agency. And just to blow our own horn, as of November, we have issued 4,442 vouchers. And let's see, in December 2022, I think we said 3,050 or something like that. So we housed an additional 800 families this year.
Wow.
Last year, we had housed an additional 1,200, and we cleaned up the whole program, so, we only have 5,117, we getting close. So, yeah.
That's good.
Congratulations. But did anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
So thank you for bringing that.
Oh, yeah.
Any questions, Commissioner Hilly or Commissioner Goodwin?
No question.
thank you.
Okay, so now, we'll be going to 9A to close session, government code section 54597. And this section permits closed session discussions of certain matters relating to public employment, including personnel matters, evaluation, and disciplinary action. Okay, so we are now coming out of closed session. The time is 6:53 PM. And we have nothing to report but to follow the direction given by the board. And so with that, we will go to number 10 on the agenda, which is commissioner comments, starting with Commissioner Goodwin.
Oh, I wanted to, thank the board, for, all the hard work that they've been doing, and Salika also, thank you for this past 2 years that, you provided service for us. It's been amazing, improvement. And I'm sure my, commissioners would agree with me. And, I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. Also, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Healy?
I would echo Commissioner Goodwin's comments and wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. And I am enthusiastic about what's to come for the agency for 2025.
Thank you. Commissioner Orozco?
Would like to echo those comments from my colleagues and also wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
And Commissioner Anderson?
I'm gonna go with everybody else. I think I agree with everything. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa.
I want to say thank you to the staff, everybody the joint effort that you do to provide housing in our community. Thank you, Zalika. And I also want to congratulate Mercedes. She was the employee spotlight. And I want to commend her for her dedication and the work that she has committed herself to and serving our clients and the public. So with that, I adjourn this meeting at 6:55. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And when is the luncheon Thursday?
From 12 to 2.
So if any of you wanna come, if you're in the area, we're gonna have a luncheon for the staff, a little Christmas thing, so you're welcome to come.
We bring anything or is it?
No, just bring yourself, you done gave them enough, probably they would be paying for the meal. We gonna have, well, they wanna have a big party next year. But I told them we'll see how the budget and all that is going, but, yeah, we having a nice luncheon.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
That'll be
leave
nice.
all these goodies with you. I'm gonna put these candy canes in that bag, okay, cause I need my